when we look at how most people start a business, and I'm talking about like service-based businesses or an expertise-based business. So something where you're taking your knowledge or your skills or your craft, and that's what you're designing your business around. So that could be you're a coach, you're a consultant, you're a photographer, you're somebody who it's what you know and what you do that is your business, right? When most people build a business like that, they by default subconsciously, unknowingly build it like a job. And that is because we've been taught to think and become employees. That's what we're being raised to do in our society. So then you're like, I feel like I have this entrepreneur bug. Like I want to actually start my own business. I want to be my own boss. But what happens is when people decide to be their own boss, they haven't changed the mindset from approaching business like a job to approaching business like an investment. And so they are becoming their own boss, but then what happens is they end up becoming their own laborer as well. So yes, they're the boss, but they're also the laborer. And have we ever heard anybody say, oh, a laborer, they must be rich?
No.
Or like, oh, a laborer, that's the path to freedom. Like it isn't. But we think that because it's like my own business, I have my own LLC and I have my private practice, or I have my consulting business, or I have my, my coaching practice or whatever it is, that you have a business. And sure, but it's also a job if it's approached that way, right? And so then the shift is to move from thinking about your business like a job to thinking about your business like an investor. And that is the difference. So what we're looking at is the difference between assets and labor. Because if you build a business around your labor, you're the boss and you're the laborer. And that's basically just like getting work done and making yourself get work done. But if you think about it like you're an investor and a developer, how you think about your whole entire business is different. You're thinking about how do I take the resources that are here, which include your time and your money, but also include your skills and your expertise and your knowledge and all of that is the reason that inspired you to get into business. How do I take that and how do I turn it into something that works without me, that feeds me instead of me feeding it? And then a developer, build that thing that is self-sustaining. So that is the big shift in thinking, is thinking about assets versus labor, thinking about being an investor and a developer versus being a boss and a laborer. That shift alone, if you just were to look at your business in that way, what would happen is you would design your business model in a completely different way. If you were thinking about this from like, I want to have my own business, why would we build a business that's based on let me like force myself to work hard? That's what we're taught to do.